the Whooper, a 1900 Reinhardt player. So now watching Whooper. And then we'll do Icy. Right, and this is a 1900 Reinhardt. Let's see what they said. I play mainly Reinhardt. I think it's fun but difficult character. I feel you. Especially when it comes to positioning. Some teams would be appreciated. I also made some stupid decisions, but hope to reduce them along the way. Alright, Reinhardt then. To start with, Reinhardt is a very difficult character to play in Numbani. Because of the high ground, right? This is basically the only way you can push with Reinhardt. Not literally, like, you can push the low ground inside and try to pressure point as well. The problem with that though is that they can just drop to contest on this side, and now you've got to go through the open to contest them. That can be difficult though. That's my point. But you got enough healing, and you got Lucio, which Lucio is a really important part. Lucio allows you to catch up to other faster heroes, like Doomfist, or literally anyone on their team. If they're running away from you and you have a Lucio, you can catch up to them. Penning is fine. You probably want to take the high ground, yep. We get a 5 strike, but that's overall okay. You could pin this even. Like, I usually say that short charges are the best. Very short charges that don't take you into the enemy team. And in this case, even if you don't kill the Reinhardt, you'll force the bubble out, and after the bubble, your Roto has a free hook. So, do you? No, we just kill them, which is also fine. Now you can just shield and push the high ground. Just shield and push the high ground. Go, go, go. Now start swinging. Behind you, careful. Overall, your play is pretty okay. It's not been perfect, but I don't think you should have dropped yet. But it's okay. The reason I don't think you should have dropped yet is that your team is not with you. Reinhardt is basically the most team-centered tank. You can't really go crazy without your team. So I feel like you should have just stayed on the high ground for a little longer, make sure your team is ready to go, then go. At least your soldier follow you though. We should be able to kill, like, as soon as we kill the Reinhardt, it's basically a fight win. Be careful though, don't just, again, you can see the problem, like, if your Lucio is not speeding you, closing distances is the biggest problem with Reinhardt. Like, don't just walk into the open unless your Lucio is speeding you. Your Lucio on healing, he should not be, he should be speeding you, but you can see that you're trying to catch up to Mercy basically, right? Mercy and Dash. And they're just running away from you. With speed, you will be on top of them already. So, this is not entirely on you, it's also on the Lucio. But you've got to know that if your Lucio is not on speed, you just have to shield as you walk to them. Your shield is full health, and you are taking a lot of unnecessary damage because your Lucio is healing and you're just not doing damage. Your range is very short, right? You can only hit things that are in front of you. I'll say this is going to be a really difficult map to explain Reinhardt positioning, but maybe we can do it on third if you get to third. Don't pin randomly, just aim for them. 5 strike, 5 strike. So, I'll show 2 Rein techs real quick, since might as well. So, 2 things with Reinhardt is that first, you can increase the size of your hitbox by swinging your camera with the hammer. Instead of just like you can hit them as close as this if you just look at them, but I was too close. Right? This is your range with Reinhardt, about 5 meters. If you take a step back, you can longer hit people, right? I'm gonna get as close as possible without hitting them. So it explains this best. So right now, I should not be able to hit them. But if I swing my camera around, I am. You could get a VOD today, most likely not. I've got a few on the queue, but the next one is on Sunday. So it's very unlikely you get one today because I only got this one and one after that. But the next one is on Sunday, so and the queue is pretty low, so you should be able to get one on Sunday. Anywho, like I was saying, you can see that I'm just swinging at them and I'm not getting him. But if I swing my camera with the hammer, head, head, head. So you can increase your range a little bit by just swinging your camera with the hammer. Which is, very important when you are trying to get close to people. That little bit of extra range you can get is very important. And the other thing is that you can swing cancel into a fire strike. Like, if you got someone low and you want to secure a kill, as soon as you get the hit marker, you can change that into, like, if you just wait for normally for the swing to finish, then go for the fire strike, it takes, like, a reasonably long time. But you can cancel the swing animation with the fire strike animation. So as soon as you get the hit marker, and that one was not ideal, but I was too far away. As soon as you get the swing marker, you can just cancel it into a fire strike, and it takes shorter, which isn't as important as swinging your hammer around with your camera, but they're both like the most known and most important Reinhardt mechanic techniques. Going back to your gameplay, and I wanted to make a pause to say those because you were struggling getting close, and having a little bit of extra range could have helped you. I'm not saying it would have, but it could have. So you missed the pin. Oh, don't just pin at random. I was gonna say that. If the Rein is moving that way, aim that way. But yeah, you just swing at the Rein. Decent kill. We should win this. Like, as soon as you guys kill the Reinhardt right away, this was basically a one fight anyway. So we just cap. We should at least just cap. Okay, we have a fight here. Having a fight here would be ideal to explain corner holding. You go a little aggressive. Do we come back to the corner? Okay, this is actually pretty good. So the general idea with Reinhardt is that he can hold corners really well. Because corners delimitate sidelines. That's the whole thing about it. And it's not, like, hold on. Do we have a fight where they get closer? No, but they are holding all the way up there, so maybe you can do it at that point. Let's go back and analyze this fight real quick. So you go forward, you try to get some space, which I'm okay with. I just want the best fight as possible to explain corner holding. We have beat, so you should be going aggressive with beat, by the way. It's basically like 1000 extra health. It's not literally, it's 700. But you should be going aggressive with beat. Rein shield has been broken. Rein has no shield, just shatter the enemy. Like, you just heard the Rein shield break. You just saw the Rein shield break. You got through 2 people in front of you. Just go for the shatter. Or 3 people maybe. Just go for the shatter. You can get a big shatter here. Just go for it. You are taking too long, and now you've lost your chance. And now you are slightly too late, and you just get fucked up. So you missed your chance to shatter. You even got nano too, which is really unfortunate. And he did it slightly earlier than you because you just picked it to his ally. It may still be winnable, like you got nanoed. But yeah, just don't worry so much about hitting the general idea of the shatter is not hitting Reinhardt, it's hitting everything else. If you can get around Reinhardt or break his shield while he's taking cover, you can shatter everything else, right? You don't have to go for the Reinhardt. Shattering Rein is not your win condition. Your win condition is shattering 2 other people. If you shatter 2 other people, then you win the fight. If you shatter the entire team by Reinhardt, it's a free fight. Go back to the corner, go back to the corner. Little late. We lose this fight, right? Or we should lose this fight at least. You're coming back. Do you go back? Good kill on the Zarya. Good kill on the Rein. Okay, we just beat the Zarya on the retreat and when they never cleaned up, which is really good for us, but... Anywho. Yeah, just be careful. Just use your shatter as soon as you got the opportunity. It's not about getting the Reinhardt. It's about getting everyone else. If you went for the Zarya, the Moira, and the Ashe at the beginning of the fight, it would have been a free fighter. You literally just killed them. That said, I do want to go back. Actually, third has a really good corner too. Maybe you'll have a fight on third. That we can explain. Taking space is solid. Just wait for healing, then go forward. Actually, this is really good. Let's wait a little bit until the Rein goes back a step. Here we go. This will do perfectly. So the concept of corner holding is not so much about the corner itself. Like a lot of people know corner holding is a thing, right? But those people don't know why it's a thing. The idea behind corner holding is to play with silence. At least, you know, the general idea. There's more nuances to it, but the general idea is just play with silence. Because this cover stops your team silent, right? If I wanted to throw your team silent, it would be something like this. Your team can do damage in this direction. And yeah, this is a rough estimate because your Roadhog is over here and he can probably do a little bit more of an angle. But the general idea is that especially your healers and your long range damage, right? McCree, Soldier, whatever, are all going to be on this way, except for the flanker or the off angle. So most of your damage is going to be coming this way, and most of your healing is going to be coming this way. Whereas the opposite happens for the enemy team, right? Actually, it's the other way. This is you because... no, because you are red. So this is yours, and this is the enemy's, right? They have a very similar idea. So again, like, especially on this point, the enemy can hold a little bit further forward, and their silent looks a little more like this. And the further forward they go, the more the silent gets increased. But you get the idea, right? Like, they got this for a base, right? In most corners, it will be like this. Some corners are different, and this one in particular, the enemy can peek further back, which is not very common in a lot of corners, because a lot of corners will not have this much space for them to go back all this way and still be behind the Reinhardt and have a much better angle. But it still will do to illustrate the point. The general idea is that your fighting area is this. This is the area both teams are contesting, right? In this area, both teams can have a big influence. Both your team and their team can shoot in this area, right? The problems begin when you want to push further into their area. Like, if you turn around the corner, you will be breaking line of sight with your team. They can no longer help you. But the enemy team will be able to shoot at you anyway, right? So, the whole reason I'm telling you this is that the reason you want to hold corners is to force the enemy Reinhardt into overextending into your team's sideline, especially into a place where his team can no longer heal him. And the enemy Reinhardt is going to be trying to do the same. If you go too far forward, your team has to follow up. There we go. If you bait the enemy Reinhardt into following up, then this is why Lucio is really important. The rest of the enemy team, let's look actually, have to either come forward with the Reinhardt, or this Reinhardt is going to die because now he's in your team sideline, but outside of the enemy sideline, right? That's a general idea. I've covered this many times. I think this is actually the worst I've explained it, so I apologize. But because you've got cover behind this, you can just hide here and take no damage. And the enemy team is safe from your team. And the same goes for you. Because of this cover, the enemy team has to go into the open to shoot at you. So what you want to do is to force the enemy into the open, and furthermore, force the enemy into your area to just get the value of, well, now we can shoot at them and now they cannot shoot at us. So if the Rein pushes forward, again, in this case in particular, because the corner is so open, the enemy team will follow up very easily. And same goes for you. Like, you are not usually able to just stand this far away from your Reinhardt and get a good angle. If you push on this corner, your team can still follow up pretty easily. But on tighter corners, like I was going to show you on this one, right? There is not that much angle. Like, this is your corner, basically. Let's go a little further up. And the biggest angle you can take is basically like this, if you want to still be with your Reinhardt, right? It's not that much bigger. Like, and you can still play the corner and be relatively safe. Because to get into your line of sight, they got to go around this, right? They got to go past the area where your team can see them. Like if I were to draw things again, let's do it like this so it's easier to understand. If this is enemy team's island and this is your team's island, to pressure you on the corner, the enemy has to go past your team's island, right? If they just stay here, they are not able to shoot at you, really. So they can't really pressure you. So if someone wants to pressure you, the enemy Rein included, they got to go into your team's sideline, where it's a contested area between both teams. And you've got basically 6 people shooting this way, and the damage is more abundant than healing in Overwatch, so it's going to be a lot harder for their team to keep the Reinhardt up, or whoever picks can just get deleted by your team, right? The general idea is that by playing around the corner, you prevent the enemy team from getting free value on you, because if you stand here, they get free value, right? If you stand on their sideline for free, they just shoot you, burn your shield, burn your health, and you lose a lot of value. But if you just play here, and either wait for your team to be ready to push with you, because if you're here, your team is right here, and you're going to push together, then your sideline goes from just this, as soon as you take a step forward, it becomes this, and once you're here with your team here, it's just their sideline, it's the same sideline. Right? And you're basically forcing the Rein to the next corner, which is how Reinhardt works. You go from corner to corner. But that's the idea. It's like, if they want to get to do damage to you, they got to walk into your team's sideline and your team can just delete them. That's why you hold corners. Because in the contested area, it's contested. Anyone can do damage. And so long as you force the enemy into coming forward to even have a chance, especially on defense, because they have to push forward on defense, you just have a big advantage in that sense. Anywho, just get out. Just wait Coalescence out. Even with that kill, we just wait Coalescence out. One, we beat, so we can go in with beat, but you also have a good shatter, like, as soon as the Rein shield is broken. Don't get shattered though. You keep getting shattered, and it's mostly a case of you're just not doing the right thing at the right time. You should have waited first thing first. But also, again, you have a really big shatter here. It's not about the Reinhardt. Especially when you get beat, you can go forward. You can shatter these and these and these. Instead, you just try to swing at the Rein. And you can win a fight with shatter. It's like a really good ultimate. And you go for the swing, and the Rein goes for the hammer, and you're so close, it's going to be impossible to stop it. And, yeah. And we get killed. So again, it is very important that you use your ultimate in a smart way. You don't have to get the Reinhardt. You're literally just waiting in front of the Reinhardt to drop their shield to get the shatter. You don't have to do that. You can just go for everyone else. Like, let's put it this way. If the team is here and the Reinhardt opens up to get a shatter or whatever, you can just shatter the rest of the team and then block the Reinhardt shatter. Or block the shatter first and then go for a shatter. For your own shatter. We just won the fight with the Rothog, which is silly, but we'll take it. And this time you do not need to shatter. You can just push forward because they only got 4 people, so please do not shatter right here. Okay, please do shatter right here. Trading shatter for grab is good enough. You don't need to, but like, we definitely did not need to shatter. I just said it because they grabbed. So it's like, well, free ultimate. You try to kill Mercy, you just can't get the Zarya 2. And now you could be going for the shatter again because they're going to start regrouping. Good pin. Right, they are going to start regrouping. You can just, never mind, they are just dead. Reinhardt behind you, to your left. You just heard the charge. Just shatter the Reinhardt, just shatter the Reinhardt, just shatter the Reinhardt. Just shatter the Reinhardt. Just shatter the Reinhardt! Just use your shatter. Use it! Use it! Use it! The Rein is just swinging on the payload. Just throw your shatter out. Just use it. You can stand Bob, Reinhardt, Mercy, Bo, Ash. You can literally get everyone. Why are you not using your shatter? You finally used your shatter, and that by this point your team has taken a lot of damage. You missed the Rein too because you know, you had perfect chances, but now he got around you. Which again, it's not about shutting the Rein, but you ended up only shattering the Ashe and Bob, but Bob goes away. And risking your life to follow up. So it's very risky when you go for those. Looks like it worked out anyway. But basically, as soon as you see the opportunities, just go for it. You don't have to try to create your own opportunity. And you don't have to wait for the perfect opportunity. Especially, like, it feels to me like you're just waiting for the Reinhardt. Most of the time. Just don't worry about it. Just go for it. 5-strike the Moira. Pin the Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball is very easy to predict. He just rolls in a circle. You can pin him for free. You missed. But you tried, which is fine enough. Kill the Wrecking Ball. Okay. Overall, how do I feel about the gameplay? It's not bad. Could it be better? Yeah, it could be a lot better. Especially when it comes to, you know, using your shatter, tracking the enemy shatter, trying to block it, use your ultimate proactively. A little bit of being aware of how close you have to be to the enemy. And then you can also swing a little bit more, like, swing with your hammer a little more to get a little more range. 5-strike early, just 5-strike. Just 5-strike as soon as you... There were 3 people here, the Rein, Soldier and Moira. Just throw your 5-strike. Just throw your 5-strike. Good 5-strike. You can, like, that's a really big anti. He started playing 4 months ago. Okay, he's doing okay for having started 4 months ago. This is really big. Anti means their Rein cannot get healed for 3 seconds. So you can really make use of this, right? We can do a lot of damage with your Rein, like both you and Monkey have damage that goes through shields, and you can kill this Rein pretty quickly, or at the very least put more pressure on him. And the advantage is you can get healed. So don't just wait it out, just go aggressive when you can. Because now they just can regroup and come again. And you have no shield. Also, stop using your shield. Like, oh, okay, let's go back. I know stop using your shield sounds dumb, but you're not really using your shield to do anything productive. Like, what are you blocking? Like a little poke damage coming to the way of your team? That's not what you use the shield for. You use the shield to get close to the enemy and swing. Other than that, you use cover, which is basically an infinite HP barrier. Like, you don't have to shield at the choke. You can just stand here and swing. And when the enemy comes to the choke, you 5-strike, you go aggressive, and you can use your shield to go more aggressive or to go more defensive. Your team just follows you and you get value. Instead, like, if you look at the Rein has full shield. Well, he doesn't, but he should have had. That was a really bad transition. But the Rein has more shield than you do. And it's mostly because when you're going aggressive and just shielding your team, he doesn't have to. His team has cover, right? So instead of just shielding his team, he's like, okay, I'm going to shield myself. He's still not doing a great job of it. But the fact that his team has to go around this corner means that he knows that if he puts the shield down, his team is not going to kill it. In your case, if you put your shield down, maybe some damage comes through. Your team should be playing a little further to the left. And going aggressive with you. But still, the idea is, don't just waste your shield. You have to use all of your resources. Cover, health, and shield. Like, can you see how you're just going to the choke, swinging once, shielding back? That's not what you want, and they're not pushing forward. But the ideal thing to do is wait until 2 or 3 people are here, then go forward, 5-strike, and swing. Because this choke is very particular in the whole game, in that it is a very tight double choke. They got to go through one door and then another. So they are trapped in here. They are literally trapped in here when you go forward. They can't get out faster than you can. They don't have a Lucia. You can see how you go aggressive, you take a bunch of damage, you shield out. That's been your whole modus operandi for this fight. And it's not ideal, because what you're doing is, remember what I said earlier? Going into their team's sidelines where your team cannot help you, farming a little Lord Charge, which is the one thing you are doing really well, like compared to their mind, right? Because you are swinging at a couple people. But like the whole team has a silent on you, and your team has no silent on them. Or like their Reinhardt really even when you're pushing forward because their Rein backs off to the corner. So you're literally taking like a small 1v6 for 1 second, and that is why you're being forced out so early. You're taking their whole team's worth of damage in that second. That's why you go from like 500 health to like 200, and you have to shield out, and your shield gets broken, because you're just not waiting. On the other hand, if you wait until their team is here, right, like here, when you go aggressive, if they have to go out, your team can push forward with you, right? They can do damage on this sideline. So when the enemy team is here and they try to back out, they are still in their sideline. The other hand, if the enemy team is here and they try to back out, well, cover. Too long. If you want to skip all of that, just wait a little bit longer. You don't have to go at them when they're at this choke. You want to go when they are nearing this choke. Because you can use cover, you can swing at corners, and you can push forward and have the same sideline for your team. You're just going a little too early. And yeah, they just farm coalescence, which is expected. Coalescence farms really quick. But we got a kill. Good fire strike. You can shatter this. Never mind, don't shatter this. We already used 3 ultimates. Don't overextend. Don't overextend. Remember what I just said? Well, your team is following up, which is good. But if your team had not been following up, and I had no idea whether your team was or not, even this shatter can get no value if you just go by yourself. But your team is following up, so it should be good enough. Another piece of advice, don't charge into shatters. The best way of following up on shatters is fire strike, swing, swing, or swing, fire strike, swing. You already use fire strike, so you don't have it, but you can just swing at people. You just get a lot more damage with the cleave than you do with a single charge. Like, look at this soldier, right? He's very low. You know his health because you just hit him. So instead, you can just take a step forward and swing at him. And you get 1 pick for free. Instead of 1 pick and damage and damage and damage, right? So instead of getting, let's just say, how much health does Thor? You beat the Thor, right? He's got 290 health, 250 because armor's going to wear off. On the other hand, Soldier has 23 HP, right? So you swing, you get 80, well, let's say 23, but 85 damage, 85 damage, 85 damage. It adds up really quickly, and the fact that you are doing it all to all of the enemies is really meaningful, because your team can also hit them. Too long to read, this shatter is okay. The follow-up isn't great. You actually pin the soldier, not even the torsion. So what this pin of 23 damage is the same damage you would have gotten with a single swing. So you could have killed them without the pin. You could have gotten damage on the Reinhardt, on the torsion, maybe on the Mercy too because she's Guardian Angel closer. This is, by the way, still going to be a 1 fight. Because you just got a good shatter and your team is following up on you. But you could have gotten a lot more value, and that dash value will matter as you rank up. Like, not being able to secure more than 1 kill with a 5-man shatter is really bad. Instead, you just go forward, swing, fire strike into everything, then swing again. Okay, good job. Come back to the high ground. So, fun question. If 1 or 2 enemies follow to the point, who contests? You? No. You've got, like I said earlier, right? This is the best place for Reinhardt to play because of this choke. And maybe this. But dropping to point basically means just you don't have the same impact as you do on the high ground because of the choke. Here you can hold a corner, right? This is basically a corner. But on the point, you don't really have a corner. Like, you can argue this is your corner, but the enemy team can get around it for free. Or just in the open for free. Or just take the high ground from you. So the person who contests here is actually your monkey. Because monkey can drop and come back out with a single cooldown. Whereas if you drop, you got to come all the way around. You just need to watch the choke. Shielding the load is fine. And the fire strike is okay. You end up dropping though, and I don't really like it. Like, look at this now. Reinhardt, Soldier, Rothog on the high ground. We can't really chase them. We can't really pressure them. You should have just stayed on this corner. Remember what I said? Reinhardt is about going from corner to corner. On this corner, you could have contested the Rein, the Soldier, the Rothog. Enabled your own Soldier. and then the rest of your team just wins the fight. Monkey can come in, Lucio can come in, your Ana can actively participate in the fights from the low ground. I think she dropped after you two. No, she was coming back from spawn. But I hope you get what I mean when I say that corners are very important. How many more are you doing? I will probably not get to yours today, Arjun. I'll do it on Sunday. I'll start with it on Sunday, if that's fine. Sunday, 1 EST. How are you doing, by the way? How's collegiate esports going? We win the fight anyway, and you just go back to the high ground at this point. Yep. That's fine. Hold behind the corner. Okay, so you don't full hold, which is what I was checking for. But you're doing pretty good. Are you just gonna get shattered? Is your entire team just gonna get shattered? Fire strike now? Always fire strike early because Reinhardt is peeking. You know, you can do damage. Charge your ultimate. Fire strike is the best way you have of charging your ultimate. So just use it as much as you can. And you're still doing the same thing, by the way. It's very obvious. Go up to the corner, swing, shield out. If the enemy Rein notices this pattern, he can abuse it, but also you're not getting a ton of value from it. Like, yeah, you're getting maybe 170 damage if the still getting the BS. Okay, that's unfortunate, but you'll find one eventually, I'm sure. Beat, just go in. You can literally just go in. Careful about the shatter though. You keep just running at the Reinhardt, get this shattered. Next open division, nice, that's pretty high. You guys may do well. You keep just running at the Reinhardt and being like, I need to swing at the Reinhardt. But you know he has shatter. You've had like 2 shatters already. So you can't just be this forgetful about the fact that the enemy Reinhardt also has shatter at this point. Yeah, you can go aggressive with beat, but going aggressive with beat doesn't just mean start swinging out in the open. You should be aware that you can't get past Reinhardt for free. You got to go on the Reinhardt, and you have to know that he has shatter, so you need to be wary. Whenever an animation starts, any animation, you need to shield it. It could just be a fire strike, it could be a swing, but if the enemy Rein has a shatter, just swing it to be safe. At high ranks, you'll be like, okay, I can start identifying each animation and predicting the Reinhardt, but for now, it is just very important that you don't get shattered. Because your entire team just gets shattered. Like 5 people shattered. And we're just gonna lose this fight at this point. Yeah. Shoulder behind you with the ultimate too. And what could have been a really one fight if you just blocked the shatter, ended up being a lost fight. And this happened twice already. And by the way, and I will go back and point this out again. Hold on. If you stop, like when I say go aggressive, doesn't literally mean you've got to physically go at the Reinhardt. You can just swing at the corner again, force him to come forward. Maybe if your whole team is going aggressive, then you can shield your team while going aggressive. And your whole team is going aggressive, so I'm not gonna say hold the corner while, you know, your team is going aggressive, but you need to shield your team. Especially from when you know the enemy Rein has shatter. This is unlucky too, but... Okay, so you're coming back. Stop using your shield for poke damage. Remember what I said earlier? Cover is your way of avoiding random damage. If you play behind... Oh, sorry, there we go. If you play behind this cover, then if you're someone your team's trying to pick out, they can just pick out. Like a little bit, do damage, and back out, right? And if they take some damage, they can just back out and get healed. They don't have any snipers who can just one-shot people. That's it. That's it. You don't have to waste your shield on random poke damage. The general idea is, well, when they get close, I use my shield to go aggressive, swing, use my shield to retreat if I have to. Don't swing once, just swing until you can, as much as you can. Here, you can even go for a flank shatter this way. Remember, it's not about shutting the Reinhardt, it's about shutting everyone else. Also, stop jumping. And you can see how you basically gave them the corner for free, right? We had a good corner, and we just basically gave it to them for free. Like, you tried to swing a little against the Rein, but your team is a little too far back, and you're just like, block the hook, which is good, but you can't just keep backing out forever. Which is what you do. You are getting healed, right? You can just back to your side of the corner. Oh, hi, mom. You don't have to keep backing out. If you just do this, you are safe. Your team can heal you, your team keeps the same sideline. You just gave up the corner for basically for free. You had full shield too. It's not like you were getting pressure into backing out. You could just do this. Play here. Swing at this corner instead. When they go forward, you go forward. You don't have to just shield out. Because what this causes is you just lost your shield. Your shield was full HP, basically. And you just lost it completely because you decided to back out. Like, yeah, you take some damage, you block the hook with the shield, which is fine. You have 1,000 shield. You can just take a step back and go here. And if they try to push you, you shatter, or you pin, or you fire strike, or you just swing. Like, Rein has a ton of tools once you are already close. But instead of just, you know, blocking the hook and hiding here, which again, cover will allow you to just... sorry. Cover will allow you to be safe while the enemy is in your team's sideline now. You just back out, and now this is the enemy's sideline, and they are just breaking your shield. And your shield was already low, and like, their Rein is here, like, I don't need to use my shield. I can save my shield and my health and then go aggressive. And you just lose some resources. Because you just decided to hard shield out. Oh wow, thank you for the subs. That's much appreciated. That means a lot. Thank you, Lara. That's definitely much appreciated. Right. Wow, it also went to like a lot of people. I really have been doing this for a lot. Karsu, Radbout, Arjun. Literally Arjun got a sub. Alexa and Kevin, who's new. Hi, Kevin. And again, you keep backing out into the open. Right? You need to use the corners. You need to use this corner, use this corner. You're just taking a lot of damage and poke damage, because of course the enemy is going to shoot at you if they can, and your shield only has 1600 health. 1600 health. Do you know how much damage the enemy heroes do? Like right now, like let's take Macri and Hanzo because they are the best examples. We make the ultimate sandwiches. Thank you. Yeah, these are very good sandwiches. I much appreciate it. Anywho, like Macri can do right click, roll right click in 2 seconds for 600 damage. Hanzo can do 700 damage with just storm arrows and a headshot, right? The amount of damage in this game is incredibly high, especially if you get any CC or you take random poke damage, you're just gonna die. Like but again, that's only for 2 DPS. Then you got Reinhardt swinging at you for 85 or 100 from Fire Strike. Roadhog doing like 200 per clip to the thing. It should be up here. This is 1900. The DSR of the person I am doing is up here. This is about 1900. Okay, but yeah, you're just taking a lot of damage. You cannot be standing in the open like this. You need to use cover and corners. You're just losing your shield every time. And are you about to shatter? You should not shatter with this little HP and no shield. Get healed, then shatter. Now could be a good time to shatter. Like, you got a bubble. The bubble is good. So you can go into the bubble and try to shatter. Macri also killed the Reinhardt. So if you want to shatter, now would not be about time. You can probably hold this too. But you need to use it. You need to use it if you want. You're going for a flank shatter. And you hit nothing. Please! think about your shatters. Again, killing 2 people is fine. 2 people is enough. And you got 2 people, 2 people. At one point you had 4 people, like 3 people. Right? You just need to go to the corner and shatter everything. So you go for the flank, and even though I'm actually okay with the flank, like I'm not totally against it. You just need to make sure you don't randomly randomly shatter at any time. Because at this point it's like, what are you gonna hit? The Mercy is going that way, Torture is that way. You can maybe get 1 person at most at this point. And you just swing into the shatter, miss the Torture because you aim left. By the way, can we talk about the shape of Torture's bullets? Just for a second. Can we talk about the shape of his bullets? Okay, let's not comment on it. You, even though you were aiming at Torture, which at least it's 1 person, it's not ideal, but it's 1 person, you fling to the left and miss him even. Miss everything. And then you probably die, you just threw the fight. You quite literally just threw this fight. Maybe not literally, sorry. Maybe not if your team managed to regroup and push with you, the Reinhardt is not here, but this was a fight that we should have secured with each other, and you just went for it and did not wait. Like, again, I'm okay with the flank shatter, but you need to think about it before you just press it. Because there were like one person you could have had. And it was just not a good shatter. At that point, just swing at the Mercy, swing at the Torture, 5 strike, regroup, take the corner, then shatter if you want to. Explain for yourself, children. And then you just get deleted. Again, going into the open, right? Like, just hold here. Again, especially on defense, holding corners is incredibly good. Because the enemy has to walk forward to get to you even. So you can just play this corner, 5 strike above the car, wait here, when the enemy goes aggressive, then you counteract. There is no need for you to be all the way here with literally no cover. Again, don't rely on your shield. Your shield is not that good right now. It's not a paper shield, it's still okay to close some distances, but the longer you stay in the open, the more it's just gonna get blown up. You're coming back, your team is gonna get shattered. And we're just gonna lose this fight because they just used 4 ultimates. 4 ultimates. You're just dead, yeah, we just regroup. Man, I can't stop thinking that you could just fill 2 teams with just Torture children. That's it. 2 Torture teams. Oh my god. Careful with the... Okay, the hook missed. Somehow this hook missed, by the way. It was like, Reinhardt? No, I prefer McCree. I have no idea how that hook missed you. Hook is very easy to block. Like, the hook is one you can definitely just block on animation and responding to the Q, especially if the Roadhog is in front of you. Like, you see this Roadhog throwing the hook, just shield it. Well, you went for the 5 strike, but you know Roadhog has a hook. Don't go for the 5 strike. Like, this hook should have... Okay, it didn't literally hit you, but it was very likely to hit you, let's just say. I'm pretty sure it was aiming for you as well. Anywho, the point is, don't just 5 strike in front of someone who can hook you, or close to a McCree. You don't have to, you can just block the hook, block the stun, block whatever they got, and then 5 strike. Good kill from your soldiers though, saved your McCree's life. Do we hold this? Maybe actually hold this. Actually, probably do hold this. You shield the Torture load, the Torv load. Look how big it is. Of course he has 12 children, lol. But yeah. That's fine, and at this point you're just doing nothing. You're again just standing in the open, being a square shieldman. You know how people call blue squareman Reinhardt? That's not the kind of Reinhardt you want to be. Instead you just want to go aggressive, like, right? You want to use your shield at the right time, not just for random damage. Random damage is not what you want to block. You want to block like hooks, damage when you go aggressive, damage when you have to go out. But not just random poke damage, because your shield is not going to last a long time if you just block random damage. And that's what's happening, right? The fight has not even actually started. Like, you're not swinging blows with the Reinhardt, and you're already out of heal. And you have to go for cover this time, which will help you regenerate your shield. But you need to stop going out in the open. Like, I'm okay with this. You are going aggressive with your monkey, with the bubble. Did not use your shield. You have your full shield right now. And you can basically just kill the enemy team. And you got nano on top of everything else. Good swings. Why did you shatter? Why did you jump before you shatter? Again, Rein is not your target. You don't have to go for Rein. Remember what I just said? You don't have to go for Rein. Why shatter the Rein? First thing first, never jump before shattering, because it creates extra distance and it will give the enemy Reinhardt more time to react. But also, don't go for the Reinhardt. You got both supports here, ready to just get shattered in the face. This could have been a free fight, but literally just shatter both supports, fire strike, swing, they are dead, you are also nanoed, so it's even more damage. And you just win the fight. Instead, you keep going for the Reinhardt. Reinhardt is not your target when you shatter. It's literally everyone else. Like, Reinhardt can block it. Moira cannot block it. Mercy cannot block it, especially if they don't have their cooldowns. And when you're this close, they got to have really good reaction time to block it too. Or to dodge it, rather. Can we still win this fight? Yes, because you got nano and your team got 3 pecks. Careful behind you, there's a turtle, you're taking a lot of damage. Don't overextend, Rotho has Suxen. Good fire strike though, and now the Rein has Shatter, right? You have to know that he has Shatter, he hasn't used it in a very long time at this point. I actually think he got it just from passive. Stop jumping so much. If either Reinhardt has Shatter, jumping is not a good idea. Because it can go under you. Like, it can literally go under you, that's what I mean. Like, hold on, let me just... Let's look when you jump back. And shield, which you just did. There is a small window there, which we didn't see, but we should see it again when you jump. Do you see that? There's a small window where you're at the cusp of your jump, where you can go under it. I always think I never thought of that for Shatter. Of which one for Shatter? Of shattering other people that's not the Reinhardt? Yeah, you just shatter everything else. You don't want to shatter Reinhardt. Like, that's why a lot of times I will see Reinhardts who just back out away from their team and I'm like, no! Right? You see this a lot, even up to like high Diamond Masters players. Reinhardts who know you have Shatter, so they try to shield and back out, but their team is here. So you're just like, lol, have fun Reinhardt, I shattered the rest of the team. That happens a lot more often than you may think. Stop being in the open, stop holding your shield. Good use of Monkey's Bubble to go aggressive though. Again, stop jumping, block the shatter. Again, it is very important that you keep track of the enemy Reinhardt shatter. Because you've got to block it. No one else in your team can really do it. You can stun it, you can sleep it, but you can even monkey bubble it. But those require a lot more timing and tracking than you just being like, oh, well they have shatter, I will keep my shield as much as I can and block it. The Rein even jumps back. You have enough distance to block the shatter, like more than enough distance. Like, look when the animation starts. If you react to the animation, which, by the way, the air shatter animation is the only one that goes up. This way. Swing goes horizontally, and fire strike goes from below to up. So if you see the Reinhardt charging up to do like an overheaded thing, that's always shatter. Just as a note, if you want to react to the animation better. But usually when the rank goes for any animation, just shield it. At this rank, they are not going to be playing mind games. At higher ranks, there are mind games where you can swing cancel into a shield and There are a lot of mind games at higher ranks. At this rank, just shield it. Just literally shield any animation. When the Rein drops his shield, just shield it. You have more than enough time to react. Like, at real time, more than enough time. Great from your Akrita. Again, blocking the Kami's kid. Your monkey got rest, and this is just one fight. You can even, I don't want to say charge in, but go aggressive. They have no Reinhardt. You can push forward with your shield to do damage to the enemy team. Your monkey is basically behind him by himself right now. And he's getting value. He's not gonna die because he's a primal and healing, but you could be getting value too. Instead, you're just still standing in the open and letting your shield take damage. And this is, I think, the biggest takeaway should be stop wasting your shield on random damage. Use cover more. If you don't go out into the open, the less you have to shield, the better. Because you are starting fights like this fight has not started. Like the enemy team is regrouping, they are all here, they are not pushing forward. There's a soldier over back there, but that's okay. Right? And you have 500 shield health, 700 shield health. And the enemy Reinhardt has 1600. So this is a very losable fight if you don't just wait, let it recharge. Right? Like, why did you shield there? Why did you shield that? You can take a little damage. You can take 100 or 200 damage. You got the healing for it, right? You got Ana, you got Mercy. They will heal you up if you see that you're missing health. You don't have to worry so much, and you can shield basically the entire enemy team but the Reinhardt. Reinhardt only does 85 damage per swing. Ana does 70 healing per swing. Ana can keep you alive against a single Reinhardt. That's the takeaway. And when the entire enemy team cannot do anything to get past your shield, it is very important that you have your shield. Because you can play around the corner, go aggressive when you need to get out. You just hard shield out, get healed by your Ana, and you are basically taking 15 damage per Rein swing. No, 10 damage per Rein swing, because you got armor too. So instead of being 85 damage, it's actually 80. So it's only 70 to the healing, it's only 10 damage. It's only 10 damage, right? So you can survive against a swinging Reinhardt by shielding. So long as you have like a decent healer. Good fire strike though, like again fire strike really good to use it. Multiple people, charge your shatter. You can go for shatter whenever you want. Wait for the right opportunity. Don't drop your shield there, you drop your shield for a second, you need to get out, right? Get out to the corner, drop your shield. This is exactly what I said earlier, right? A lot of the time, Reinhardt will forget that their team is behind them. Even if he wants to block your shatter, even if he does block your shatter, you can still shatter everything behind him. That's the whole point I was trying to make earlier. You don't have to shatter Reinhardt, like, look at this! Just take a step forward and shatter everything. They don't have a great way to stop you, like, only the hook, but you can track the hook. You can just be like, okay, I go forward, Roadhog tries to hook me, I shield the shatter. Right, if you take a step forward, Roadhog will try to hook you here. So you just shield it. Can you see, by the way, what I mean? You can shatter everything. Instead, you go in front of the Rein to try to get the Reinhardt in the shatter. Or just to pressure the Reinhardt. You can win, you have a free win here. Even with, you're gonna kill the Rein and shatter everything, and it's gonna be good anyway. But at high rank, stop jumping yourself. Stop jumping before shatter. At high ranks, people will not let you do this. Like, people will not just let you do this. Roadhog will pop his ultimate, they will just top off the Reinhardt. You will not get away scot-free with this at higher ranks. You will get hooked if you don't block it. Just go for a big shatter. And that's it, you just won the fight. Yeah, sure, Reinhardt is still here, but everyone else is on the ground. Was it a good shatter? Yeah, it was a good shatter. You got 2 people. But, like, at that point, it's just like, well, what's the point? We already killed Reinhardt and you got nanoed. You didn't even have to shatter. 5 strikes decent. Their Rein has Shatter now. You've got to block it, right? You keep track of it. Can you see, by the way, how just going out into the open with like since I explained corner holding earlier, and silence, I'll do it again. I'll show you again. What are you doing? What is this? Are you achieving anything other than letting them give you damage for free? This is their sideline. Why are you walking into their sideline? You are taking damage for free. If you want to fire strike, you don't have to go all the way out here in the open. You can just fire strike. And then you go out into the open again with no reason because you did not have fire strike. Like, what's the point of this peak? And taking all of this damage. And shielding what? Again, your shoulder should be here to begin with. But he can just take a sidestep and be out of the enemy's line of sight. Like, yeah, your shoulder is kind of hittable. You can see him behind you. But all he has to do is, like, run a little bit behind him and he'll be fine. Like, even from their shoulder, it's like, okay, yeah, you can just get away. Like, what are you shielding? You're just wasting your shield on random damage. And that needs to stop. Because you could just be waiting here, standing still, letting the enemy Reinhardt push forward, and then swinging. Swing, 5 strikes, swing, whatever you want. You would not have less HP, you would not have less shield than he does. Because right now, he's got full HP, 1000 shield, and you've got 200 HP, 700 shield. So you're just gonna die here if he pushes you. And he's got Shatter on top of that. Okay. And then we get Shatter. So another quick note. A good way of surviving the Roadhog ultimate is just flashing your shield and letting it shove you away, right? Like Roadhog is about to ult, right? What you can do instead of just letting him kill your shield is just flash it. Like, not right now because you're going to the Kamis, but like at this point, just flash it. Just flash your shield, flash it down, let it push you away, right? Just push you away, and then you're basically in cover. And if you try to push you can flash your shield again. And you will have had enough shield to block the Shatter at that point. You only don't because it's broken and it's so far away, but you can't block it. And then you get pinned. Which, again, that's a little bit more advanced, and I don't expect you to be able to do that right away. I don't want that to be the lesson. I want the lesson to be, well, if you had full shield, you would have been able to block the Shatter. Even with the Roadhog ultimate. Your team wins anyway. Like, we win the fight. You just go aggressive and win the fight, right? You even get nanoed, you go crazy, you go ham, you kill everything. Roadhog is like the worst target you can go on, by the way. I will say that. Roadhog is really bad for you to do good damage on. But yeah, overall, how's your play? Your play is okay. I feel like the two biggest things are, again, I explained corners and sidelines. And these will feed into each other, and you'll see it a lot. Corners and sidelines. And resources. Which can be, again, HP or shield. Let's just say those. Shield. And you will see that these feed into each other a lot. The more you use corners, the more you avoid just standing in the enemy silence for free, the more resources you have. And the more resources you have, the more aggressive you can go without getting punished. But corners and silence will help you keep your resources low. And that's the biggest takeaway. Like, yeah, saving your resources is important, but just playing with cover more by using corners, not going for free into the enemy silence, will help you tone down your resource waste a lot. Because a lot of the time what is happening, and it happens a lot here for example, is that you'll just go into the open and shield. And your shield just gets broken and you get deleted, because there's a lot of burst damage in the game right now. So to avoid that, you just do this. And when you go to aggressive, you shield this. And when you go to go out, instead of, like, if you got to go out with your shield, if you're standing here in the open, you've got to do this, right? If you're here, you just got to take one step. And that's it. You take one step, you're safe, you get healed up, you regen your shield, you go again. Saving your resources is really important, and using cover and corners is going to help you a lot. So keep in mind, enemy sidelines, your team sidelines, and cover. And corners, which corners are like the amalgamation of everything. Your team silence, the enemy team silence, corners, cover, right? It's an amalgamation of everything, but yeah. Okay, let's take a 3-minute break and then we'll do. I'll be back in 3 minutes, chat.